issue that we have corresponded on. The need for an appropriate recognition of the men who fought in Jadotville through the form of medals for bravery, a measure which was suggested by Commandant Quinlan. I think this is a sad, in many ways, part of our military history that these people have never been properly recognised for the heroic courage that they showed in 1961 in the Congo. In fact, they were stigmatised, and while that's beginning to change, it's out of not because of the state, but rather because of their families and their colleagues.
Thank you, Minister.
On the occasion of the 55th anniversary of the siege of Jadotville, I decided to issue a unit citation to honour the collective actions and bravery of the men of A Company, 35th Infantry Battalion. My department organised and hosted a ceremony in Costume Barracks in Athlone on Saturday the 17th of September 2016, in which a unit citation was presented to the company in recognition of their collective heroism and professional performance during the siege of Jadotville, whilst cut off from support and reinforcements. During the ceremony, a copy of the citation was presented to each member of the unit or the next of kin in case of deceased members. This was the first time a unit citation was awarded within the Defence Forces, and I was delighted to be able to formally recognise the collective bravery and actions of men of A Company 35th Infantry Battalion. In addition, a specially commissioned insignia, which is currently being procured, will be provided to members and the next of kin of the deceased members of A Company. These recent steps to honour and recognise the bravery of those who served with A Company 35th Infantry Battalion build upon previous initiatives taken by former Ministers for Defence as follows. In November 2005, a plaque was unveiled in Costume Barracks at Athlone to commemorate the events of Jadotville and the very significant contribution of A Company of the 35th Battalion as a whole on the UN Peace Support Mission in Congo. Number 2, there was a presentation of scrolls in 2006, and 3 portraits of Lieutenant Colonel McNamee, the 35th Battalion Commander, and Commandant Quinlan, Company Commander of A Company, were commissioned on the 23rd of February 2007. These portraits were unveiled at the Military College and now hang on the Congo Room in the United Nations Training School in the Cora camp. Number 4, in July 2010, the 50th anniversary of the first deployment to the Congo was commemorated in a highly publicised and well-attended event in Casement Aerodrome in Baldonnel. Congo photographic book was also produced for the occasion, a section of which was dedicated to the events of Jadotville in 1961. Number 5, a nominal roll of A Company printed in copper has been affixed to the monument in Costume Barracks and was unveiled as part of the 50th anniversary of the Jadotville affair in September 2011. I am satisfied that these events and happenings to date properly honour the bravery of the men of A Company.
Thank you, Minister. Deputy Daly.
Minister, I don't think the remaining men, their colleagues nor their family are satisfied with the efforts, and in some ways you'd have to say, why are you going to all this effort really to give them what they don't want? Because the citation this year was a generic piece of paper to the A Company. It had no identifying features such as name or rank, which is very important to military personnel. The plaque in Athlone is not good enough. Even still, the soldiers themselves had to pay to have the names put on it. There's no record of the presentation rolls in 2006. Maybe you could clarify that. The portraits in the mess hall, one of Lieutenant Colonel McNamee, who wasn't even actually in the Congo, and one of Quinlan, who was ridiculed for most of his military career. A picture in a mess hall is not adequate, given the bravery and the trauma that these men experienced. And again, the initiative in Baldonnel was welcome, but it was only publicised amongst the army community. It's not really an appropriate recognition. You gave out 10,000 medals to people who took part in a celebration of the centenary of 1916, and we can't give out medals for bravery to people who took part in one of the most heroic and adequately represented part of our military history. What they want is a medal for bravery. There's only about 30 or 40 of them left, and I really think that it is time to acknowledge.
First of all, let me state that the men and women of Oakland and Heron put their lives on the line every day of every week 24/7 when they go on peacekeeping duties, let it be in UNDOF, UNIFIL or many of the other missions that we have scattered across the world. And this is something that I actually took a personal interest in when I was appointed, because I seen the human side of this while in opposition and over the past number of years. I didn't know any of the people personally, so there was no personal attachment to me that I took the personal interest in this. But this is the first time that a unit citation and an insignia have been presented to any members of or past members of Óglaigh na hÉireann. And I actually, when I took the personal interest in this, I said that we will have a ceremony in Athlone. I met each of the survivors personally myself, spoke to them, and I have to say, contrary to what Deputy Daly is saying, they were happy to receive the recognition, albeit not the medal, but they were happy to receive the recognition that I had given them. And there is a legal position in that there is no provision in the regulations for the Minister to make an award of the Military Medal of Gallantry other than on the recommendation of the Military Board appointment by the Chief of Staff, nor is there any mechanism for the case to be referred back to a Military Board for fresh examination. I have absolutely...
Sorry,
can I just...
allow you back in.
I'm going to conclude...
Sorry, allow you back in. Deputy.
Where there's a will, there's a way. I think there's a sad irony in the fact that the battalion that followed the 35th and went out to the Congo received 25 medals, while the 35th to this day has none. Now, the men, of course, welcome your actions, Minister, and are glad of some recognition, but given the scale of the siege and the monumental bravery against the odds, really, that this battalion experienced, the point that's been made here is that it's not enough, and we need to find a way in which to recognise them appropriately. Now, I do think a key part in the turnaround has been Rose Doyle's excellent book. The film, The Heroes of Jadotville, as well, has helped, if you like, to rewrite history as it should have been written. But there's a view out there that one of the reasons why they haven't been appropriately rewarded is to protect the reputations of the likes of Frank Aiken and Conor Cruise O'Brien, who maybe didn't have as good a history of this experience as the men who were on the forefront. So I would ask you to look at it again.
Please. Let me state, post my appointment, the first thing was one of the first issues that I said I wanted to recognise. I have looked at this upside down, inside out, and every way possible. And I do recognise, Deputy Lawson, you said this is a very complex situation, and it's extremely complex because there is rules and regulations around the presentation of medals and who gets medals and who don't get medals and everything like that. So, like, you know, we have to have regulations, and there has to be regulations. And I'd be the first to recognise, and I think anyone in this House would be the first to recognise the bravery of these men when you see the movie The Siege of Jadotville, and to see the commitment, to see what they went through, and, like, you know, and I recognise every member and every man, woman, a member of the Defence Forces who go abroad on peacekeeping duties. I do take on board the views of both deputies, but let me assure you both that I have looked at this in every way possible to see what we can do here.
Thank you.